I always feel that education is of the utmost importance, and my apologies in advance if I bored you with a narrative or some kind of academia, but I think that I'm not in a room with people from the Soviet Union, I think, from the former Soviet Union, or from the Russian Federation, or from Eastern Europe, so that's why I thought it would be apropos to do that. And I think maybe I'll just come up to the podium and I shan't read anymore. I think I did enough academics. I don't know if I'll do it without notes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. So I just wanted to no longer give a lesson, but to just touch base on some of the work that I do, that I perform. I think to make it a more personable human experience. I am boots on the ground and I work independently. Well, as I worked for Human Rights First and was their foreign policy fellow for quite some time, I went and branched out and said to myself, all right, I came to the United States for religious and obvious ethnic persecution under a government that didn't want the people, under a government that actually labeled us. I mean, if you're not labeled with a star, if you're not labeled with something else, then you're labeled by your passport stating who you are so that people know. It could be considered a matter of color, I suppose, whereas I don't particularly look Slavic. I don't know if you have noticed, you know, no blonde hair. That's the Slavs, right, mostly. And so occasionally when I set up shop, covertly, not overtly, to perform human rights and to be an advocate and to help people who are in the underserved community, I try to do it in a way that they wouldn't ask for my passport, certainly not in the Russian Federation. Of course, I do resemble a Ukrainian lady in some fashion, and I was in fact asked. And the Russians have a certain name for the Ukrainian people, and when they want to be derogatory, they call them chachli, which is not a very nice terminology, to set them apart as if they were lesser. So I help Ukrainian women and children mostly right now. I've been doing that since the onset of the war. And Ukrainian women and children were stationed on a huge liner in Tallinn, Estonia. They lived on a huge liner in transit on the way to other countries for salvation, for help, while their men fought. They don't know whether their men would ever return, whether they'll see their husbands, and some of them have many, many children. So on that liner, I represented their rights. I also had the opportunity to make a documentary film, which I'm still working on, if I don't go closed down altogether and nobody finds out, because as you can see in this film clearly portrayed that faces need to be covered, people can't, otherwise you can lose a life and you can lose your motive to do this. Some of the children and women that I did represent were offered places in, for example, Germany. I'll name one, just Germany as a country. They came and they faced a colony of pedophiles. It had nothing to do with actually helping them. It was an actual colony of pedophiles. I don't want to, reference Lolita or Nabokov's book that I grew up on that was banned, but it was a case where the mothers were too old for them, and the mothers were 26, 27 years old. So you can picture what they were looking for, right? So that's what I represent. That's what I do. I've been doing this for quite some time now. And another aspect is reparations for the war. Seizing Russian assets, very difficult. Trying to go after and having these reparations is even more dangerous. And let's recall what happened to Navalny. Okay, this is not an accident. We know, not just from BBC, but from other sources. So I am afraid of targets. I don't come there veiled, but I do come wherever I represent folks. I come rather incognito, because that's the nature of my job. I'm an advocate, solo advocate. I do this on my own. Wherever we try to set up shop, the Russians would come in and would foil our operations to help anybody. And I'm not just talking about Ukrainian, I'm talking about people that come to us from Georgia, from Armenia, from Uzbekistan, from Kazakhstan, from Turkmenistan, anybody seeking asylum or anybody seeking to even get out of Russia because they're unhappy or because they're treated in a different kind of manner than they are used to being treated, or they should be treated. So that's what I do. Most recently, what I've done, and I'll fairly conclude on this, is that unfortunately there is a history of torture now. The Russians have tortured so many people that they have captured. Now I understand that war breeds with it torture, but you cannot torture those that are in captivity. It's inhumane. And this is what's happened. And on another note, and I have those kind of clients as well. On another note, the Russians are now swapping bodies. And this is the most deplorable, because they do not value the life of their soldiers. It has come to my attention in my personal practice that soldiers have been coming back. There is one particular Mr. Bugay who was born in 1974. He is dead. I'm not afraid to say it. He came, his body arrived in Ukraine, and his body arrived, he's a Russian soldier. And they are told to bury him on those grounds because they don't want him. He is in Russian uniform. This is a significant factor, because not only do we not value those that are mobilized and fight for us, we also don't value them in life. We just bury them and take them to another land, which is not the land they were fighting for, which again is abominable. And Ukraine said we will send those bodies back because they fought for their own country, not for our country. And one final note on the Roma people. I have represented so many Roma clients that live in caravans outside of Ukraine. Roma have not been treated well in Ukraine either, not in Russia and not in Ukraine. There is a little known, there is a mafia gangster group called C14 that I have been following that has consistently set fire to all of the Roma camps. They come, they break into wherever they live, they kill them, they drag them, and this is unfortunate because it's systemic throughout Eastern Europe. I don't know what it is that the Roma have done to them. It's not just because I have ancestry, but it is unacceptable for this ethnic minority to have to face this kind of calamity at the hands of anybody. Now we know that these people were 250, I think, thousand were killed under Nazi regime, and we hardly ever hear about it. That's their genocide Holocaust. Their women were sterilized, their horses were cut, and they were claimed to be just musicians and idle-minded thieves. This is what intolerance can do to people. And so I know, and I thank you all for allowing me to speak about some of the work that I do, because the next steps taken is what you're doing today, collectively standing as one to try to bring this to attention. So I am very thankful that I received the platform to speak. I'm thankful for everybody, Parliament, Wanda. Thank you so much. And I do pray for peace. Thank you.